speaking of the draft, hey, the draft is upon us.
It is here.
And we want to kind of roll into some things. So, going into this draft, we've kind of, thought about guys that didn't really make their mark in the NBA that we thought they might. Some guys went a little higher than we thought they should, and it, ended up panning out that they weren't the guys that we thought they were going to end up being. So we got a little list that we've comprised, and my man, the Enlightened1ne, will go ahead and kick it off, and we're just going to roll it up, man. And you guys see if you can remember some of these names we're about to hit you with.
Yes, so in honor of the 2011 draft, this is the all-time NBA lottery disappointment team. And no offense to some of these guys, hey, because the first one I'm going to roll into, it wasn't really his fault. He got picked higher than people thought. But we went all the way back to 1984 to the first year of the lottery, and slot by slot, we tried to see who was the most disappointing guy in that slot compared to what people thought he might be or what he should bring to the table. So starting at number 14 and going back, we're going to kick it off with Mateen Cleaves, point guard out of Michigan State. Mateen Cleaves was fresh off that emotional high, led his team to the championship, carried him on his back. He had those leadership skills. They knew his jump shot was a question, but people got so wrapped up in that leadership because he really put him on his back, won that championship. So the Magic Johnson comparisons came out. That should have been a big red flag because we know the only similarity with him and Magic was that green Michigan State jersey.
Yeah.
But sometimes winning a championship, that's what they can do for you. If they lost in the Sweet 16, maybe he go in the second round that year. But he took them all the way to the title, came out number 14. Mateen Cleaves never panned out, so he's number 14 on the list in the 2011 all-time draft lottery disappointments.
Well, my next guy, number 13, is a guy that some people may be surprised that he's on this list. Others may not, because we still haven't seen what we were supposed to see from this guy. With the hype and the fanfare that was surrounded by this guy, you would think he'd be the best thing since his uncle coming out of New York. We're talking about high schooler Sebastian Telfair, pick number 13. Never really just panned out, man. Can you guys remember the hype associated with this guy and how he was supposed to be the next best thing since sliced bread? Or the little peanut butter and jelly in the jar together? Dude, it just didn't happen, man. I mean, he's still in the league. I guess some team is still giving him a shot. I think he's still with Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken. I mean, dude, what's the deal, bro? Work on your game. Show us something. Give us one good year to have all the hype just kind of come into fruition and be like, okay, it finally came to pass. We see why this guy was selected number 13 and why all the hype around him actually was. But Sebastian, dude, big disappointment, number 13, man. Unlucky number 13, if you ask me.
And at number 12, Harold Miner. Look, with a nickname like Baby Jordan, you better come on with it. He was one of the original fake Jordans, in the era when Jordan was still playing. So he had a lot of expectations. Again, not his fault. Just because he's a bald-headed dude who can jump high and dunk, he didn't ask to be called Baby Jordan, but sometimes those nicknames will kill you. Came in, won, 2 dunk contests? He performed in the dunk contest, but too bad it didn't translate to the rest of his game. So number 12, Harold Miner out of USC.
I think number 11 for me, the most disappointing number 11 pick that I can think of, a guy that I was very high on coming out the draft, a guy that I thought, may have been a little undersized to play the 2, but hey, he's a guy that come in, give you some instant offense, knock the J down from deep. Guy named Trajan Langdon out of Duke. A lot of you guys may remember him, played on the championship team with Duke. Very, very, solid guy. Could shoot the Alaskan assassin, baby. Could shoot it, could knock it down from anywhere. Never really got a good NBA look, man, and never found a way to stick on and make a squad. So, number 11, Trajan Langdon. Sorry it didn't work out, man. I really thought he'd have a decent NBA career at worst.
And number 10 is Keon Dooling out of Missouri. Now, Keon Dooling is on this list because he has size, as somebody who could play the point, and he just kind of had all those tools that people thought he could be a lot better than he was. And he's kind of disappointed because he actually started out on that track. He came into the NBA, so he's not a guy who never did anything. He had a couple good years out there, but just the fact that he was in the 2000 draft, and this is 2011, and I can't remember the last time I seen him on the court, and you're not old, so that means bust. Number 10, Keon Dooling.
Number 9, a guy that everybody that even follow college basketball during this time, you're gonna remember this name. A guy coming out of UCLA, everybody was just absolutely slobbering over. Ended up being taken by the New Jersey Nets. They thought they called lightning in a bottle. Guy by the name of Ed O'Bannon. Never really got it done. Never really ended up being that dynamic small forward type guy that we thought he'd be. Silky, smooth left-hander, slasher, finish at the bucket. The guy never ended up being anything more than a role player at best. And there was a lot of hype associated with this guy coming out of UCLA. Championship teams. Man, he was the leader of that UCLA team. Never really made it happen, man. So I don't know what happened to Eddie O, but number 9 didn't get a lot up out of you, bro.
A real quick shout out to Ed O'Bannon, because he is one of the ones heading up this lawsuit against the NCAA to help players get their just due and get paid, along with Sonny Vaccaro and some other heads out there. So off the court, shout out to him for that, because like you said, he didn't do it on the court. And number 8 is from the number 8 pick from the 1990s draft, Bo Campbell, Loyola Marymount. Those high-flying, high-scoring teams, scoring about 365 points a game, something crazy. And they had all the emotion with the tragedy of Hank Gathers and the loss. And you remember him, the whole shooting his free throws left-handed in honor of Hank Gathers and actually making them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was something in itself. But the man averaged like 96 points a game in college, and then got to the NBA, and it just didn't pan out. So Bo Campbell, he was somebody that everybody was rooting for because of the Loyola Marymount story. It would have been a great story, if he could have turned into an NBA All-Star, but it just didn't happen. Bo Campbell.
Wow. And number 7, I got a guy out of Texas, 7-foot guy. A lot of people thought would be, a decent big at best. Ended up getting drafted by the Chicago Bulls, actually, Chris Mihm. A guy that I thought the Bulls would actually keep. And at the time, I was absolutely crazy about the pick. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that Chris Mihm kid out of Texas, 7-foot guy to score around the basket, decent little mid-range touch, good rebounder. Fizzled out. Ended up getting traded to Cleveland for the rights to my man Jamal Crawford, and the rest was history. We know who ended up becoming a better pro. I mean, last he was seen, he was with the Lakers, 4 years ago or something like that. I don't know where Chris Mihm is now, but being a number 7 pick, bro, in the 2000 draft, come on, bro, you got to make some heads. You got to make a name for yourself out here, man. Just haven't done it. So you probably somewhere picking up that good NBA pension, might be coaching a high school team somewhere. I don't know. Number 7, Chris Mihm.
And number 6 was the number 6 pick in the 1995 draft, Bryant Big Country Reeves. He was big, he was country, and he made a splash. Coming out of college, he actually played pretty good. Again, injuries took him down, and the weight, and after that, it was over. He was with the Grizzlies before they came to Memphis, in Vancouver, and that last contract he signed was an example of one of the main reasons why the owners are trying to get rid of guaranteed contracts in this upcoming collective bargaining agreement, because down here in Memphis, we suffered for some years behind that contract and never saw him. He never made it to Memphis, but that contract did. It was huge. He was huge, but he didn't pan out. Bryant Big Country Reeves, number 6.